Hey guys, it's me Rehan from Crazy Rira, and today we're going to learn the complete tutorial of a 3x3 Rubik's Cube. And if you want to learn the complete tutorial of a 3x3 Rubik's Cube, first you'll have to understand the basics. That is R prime, L prime, Q prime, D prime, F and F prime. So these are the basics if you want to learn a 3x3 Rubik's Cube. So let's just start to scramble it. So now I've scrambled the cube, and as you can see, I've scrambled the cube, and each cube, I have to tell you an important thing. There are three main parts. One is the center. You'll have 6 of them. 5 and 6. Yep, there are 6 of them. The next part is the edge piece. So the edge piece, you'll have 4 of them in each face. So let's count. 1, 2, 3, and 4. You have 4 edge pieces in this face, and you'll have 4 edge pieces, 1, 2, 3, 4 in this face, 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 1, 2, 3, 4 in this face. And the next important part is the corner piece. The corner piece also, you'll have 4 pieces in one face. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Step 1. Formation of cross. After the important point, now what we have to do is choose a face. I'm choosing the color orange because I like orange. You can choose whatever face you want. Now the color orange has 1 centerpiece in it, 4 edge pieces, and 4 corner pieces. Now we have to form a cross, an orange cross, and now we have to look for orange edge pieces. Oh look, there's one. So we have to see whether it's nicely matching. Oh, and it's flushed. And the meaning of flush is that they should be in the same color, like orange, white. White means they're in flush, and orange, they're in flush. So as you can see now, these both are in flush. We can see that we have completed one part of the cross. Now we have to look for other edge pieces. That is, one is here, and it can suit wherever in the cross. So we'll have to try them first. Okay, I'm gonna put it here. Okay, D prime, M, D, and M prime. Oh, and it went up, but orange is flush. The down part isn't flush, I think. Let's check. Oh, it isn't flush. The white is flush, but the yellow isn't flush. Look at the color of the edge piece. It's yellow, but the centerpiece, it's blue. So we'll have to look for the centerpiece yellow. Oh, gotcha. It's there. And then what we have to do is we have to perform an algorithm that the edge piece from there should go to the center yellow. That is F2, D prime, flip the cube, and then do F2 again 2 times. So now as you can see, the orange is flushed on yellow and white. with flushed on yellow and white. Okay, now next, while performing this algorithm, we just got another edge piece correctly fitted, but in the centerpiece it's not flushed. So it has to move to the opposite side, that's green. So perform this algorithm. F2, D prime 2, and then flip the cube to the opposite side, that's green, and then perform F2. So now we have a cross. So this is what we call a cross. Look closely. And now we have the orange flushed, the center pieces flushed. This is step 1 completed. Step 2, formation of T. So after completing the cross, what you'll have to do is you'll have to fix the corner pieces to form the T. So you'll have to look for corner pieces. There's 4 corner pieces in each face. So 1, 2, 3, and then the last one 4. Yeah. And now what we have to do is pick a corner piece. I'm picking that corner piece because it's attached. So I'm gonna check the color of the corner piece. That's blue and yellow, but I think it's not flush because as you can see it's not correctly colored. The center pieces are white and blue. Blue is correct, but yellow is not correct. We have to look for the center pieces, blue and yellow. Oh, there's it. So I think you're guessing it right. That piece should go over here. So I have an algorithm for that. And I'm going to perform it now. You can see it on the screen. That is R prime, D, R, D prime, flip the cube, and then R prime, D prime, and then R. Now as you can see, that corner piece moved from here to here and it's flush. That's the important thing. It has to be in flush. Okay, it's flush. And then now what we have to do is look for the next corner piece. It's just right here. Yep. So we'll just have to look for the colors. That's green and orange. Oh, it's correctly placed, but it isn't solved correctly. So let us make it solve. So what we have to do is R prime, D, R, and D prime. And you have to repeat it again. R prime, D, R, D prime. Again, R, D, R prime, D prime. And again, R prime, D, R, and D prime. And now as you can see, it's flushed. It's flushed, guys. 2 corners flush, 2 to go. So come on, let's see. Oh, it's right there. So let me check the colors. It's blue and white. White is correct, but blue, you guys must have guessed it already. It should go, this corner piece should go over here. Right, that's right, that's right. And we'll have to do R prime, D, R, and D prime. And it's gone down, and now we'll have to bring it to the position where it has to go, bottom of the position where it has to go, and then do F, and then D prime 2 times, and then flip the cube, L, D, and then flip the cube left. Now what we have to do is again D, R prime, D prime, and then we have to do again R. So now we can see that it's flush. It's flush, guys, it's flush. So now 3 corners done, 1 corner to go. Now it's just again to do D, R prime, D prime, and then R. It's flush. It's flush, guys. It's flush. Now you can see we have solved the color orange and we have formed an inverted T on all the sides. That is blue, white, green, yellow. So now if you flip the cube, you will see the normal T in which we write alphabets. We are flipping the cube, and then now I can see that we are forming a normal T in all the alphabets. The color orange is solved, and we can see that blue has T, yellow has T, a small T, maybe not a big T. Now what we have to do is flip the cube back to normal, and we have to align it to the middle. We have to make sure that you don't have the color red in your edge piece. Because the color red is the top layer, and we are going to do the first two layers of the bottom side, so we should not include the color red in any of your edge pieces. So pick an edge piece which does not have red in it and perform this algorithm. Now we can see on top of the edge piece it's green color, and green color is on the left side, so this edge piece has to go over here. So for that, on the left hand side we have doing an algorithm that's U prime, L, U prime, L prime, U, flip the cube to left side, R, U, and R prime. Now you can see that the edge piece which was on top has gone and settled to the bottom. This is called the flush edge. So we're gonna swipe blue. Where's the edge blue? Oh, here's the edge piece blue with top white, as you can see. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna swipe blue with blue. Oh yes, blue with no with white on top. And as you can see, color white is on the right side of the cube, but before it was the color green was on the left side. So this time it's a different algorithm, because on the right side it's different and on the left side it's different. So let's start the algorithm. That's U, R, U, R prime, U prime, flip the cube to the right side, and then L, U prime, and L prime. So now you can see, just like before, the edge piece which was on top has now come and settled to the right side of the cube. That's between the edge pieces, center pieces, blue and white. Looking for the next edge piece, huh? There it is, white and green. Move to the white centerpiece, and green. Which side is green? Is it on left? Nope, it's on the right. Yes, so we have to do the same algorithm as before. Not before, but before. It's U, R, U, R prime, U prime, flip the cube to the right side, and L, U prime, and L prime. And now we can see the same which has gone to the bottom and settled to the right side. Oh, and is there any else such piece? Nope, it's all with the red, color red. So we can't. The piece which has to go on the top is now settled on the bottom, but interchanged. How? We have to algorithm R, U, R prime, U prime, flip the cube to the right, L, U prime, L prime. Now as you can see, the color and the yellow and blue edge piece has gone to the top. Make it line correctly. Blue is on the right side, so do the right side algorithm. That is U, R, U, R prime, U prime, flip the cube to the right, L, U prime, and L prime. Now it's flush. Now this step is called as the F2L. What's it called? F2L. Now we have only the top layer, which is a little bit difficult. So you can see we have the first two layers solved. Now we have the colors blue, white, green, and yellow solved without messing the cross. The first two layers are solved, obviously. So without messing up, we've solved it. Step 3, formation of the top layer, cross. So what you have to do is you have to form a cross just like you did in the bottom, which is the orange color. You'll have to do it in the red color, that's it, or whatever color you chose. You can just the opposite of that. Some people may also get a dot, or a line, or an inverted L. And some people may also end up getting the whole cross just to skip the step. So people with the whole cross just skip this step. And I'll be showing you situations of dot, inverted L. But this situation is about line, so let's just continue. And the most important thing about line is you'll have to do it horizontally, not vertically. If you do the line vertically, the algorithm will go wrong and you'll not be able to solve the cube. So what you'll have to do is you'll keep the line horizontally and perform the algorithm. You can keep it to the opposite, that's yellow, on this type of cube. You can keep whatever cube you are and do the upper algorithm. That is F, R, U, R prime, U prime, F prime. Now you can see that from the line it has been transferred to a cross. Now I'll be showing you a situation where instead of a line I have a inverted L. You should not do it in the original L because the algorithm won't work just like the horizontal vertical. So you'll have to do it in the inverted L only. This is mandatory, not on the original L. You'll have to do it in the inverted L. The original L is which is like the alphabets. It's the inverted L. You'll have to do the algorithm. The same algorithm, but that's F, R, U, R prime, U prime, and F prime. Now you can see it's been transformed to a line, and from the line you'll have to do it again the same step horizontally. F, R, U, R prime, U prime, F prime. Now from the line it's been transformed to a cross. I had told you that I'll show you the dot situation also. So in this situation we have a dot instead of an inverted L line, and now we have to transform this dot into a cross. So I'm just going to tell you how to do it. Now the same step, that is F, R, U, R prime, U prime, F prime. Now it's been transformed to the inverted L, but it's not proper, so we need to make it just like I told you last time, the inverted L, not the original L. We have to keep it in the place of inverted L and do the same algorithm again. You should keep it in the inverted L only. F, R, U, R prime, U prime, F prime. Now it is the inverted L has been transformed to a line. Again, repeat the same algorithm to form it to a cross. And the same rules: F, R, U, R prime, U prime, and F prime. Now, as you can see, we have finished completing the cross. Step 4. Formation of middle line. After you finish the cross, what you'll have to do is you'll have to adjust the middle line, only the middle line flush. So flush means, you know what, color to color, yellow to yellow, green to green, same. So what you'll have to do is you'll have to flush the colors, all the colors. So you'll have to just swipe and check if anything is flush. Well, green is flush, and it has to be adjacent flush, opposite flush, or all flush. There are situations in where there is adjacent flush and opposite flush, which I will be showing to you later. But in this situation, we have all flush. For people who didn't get all flush, I'm going to be showing a situation in where there are adjacent sides. So this is the situation in where there are adjacent sides. The adjacent sides are green and white. So let's see if they're adjacent. White is yellow is adjacent, but green, white are adjacent flushes. Now, how to make these adjacent flushes all flushes? Now I'm going to be showing you that only. So now we'll be just flushing. There are situations when there are opposite flushes. Opposite flushes, I'll be showing that situation. But for now, let's just stick on to adjacent flushes. So let's perform this algorithm, that is right, up, right prime, up, right, up prime 2 times, and then right prime. So now we've flushed green and yellow, but before it was green and white. Now it became to green and yellow. So what we'll have to do is we'll have to align the white color properly. So I'm aligning it properly and repeat the same step. That is right, up, right prime, up, right, up prime 2 times, and right prime. Now you can see that it is flush on all sides. It's flush on all sides. So this is the case where you'll have the opposite middle line of flushes. You don't have it adjacent or you don't have it all. You'll have opposite adjacents. So this algorithm, the same algorithm will teach you how to solve opposite adjacents. Now I'm going to swipe and you'll see that white and yellow are adjacent because they're opposite. They can be either ways. They can be blue, green, or white, yellow. I'm going to take blue, green. You can take white or yellow or any other color. So let's repeat the same step. Right, up, right prime, up, right, up prime 2 times, right prime. Now you can see it's adjacent. The sides have become adjacent, from opposite to adjacent, and do the same step. That is right, up, right prime, up prime 2 times, and right prime. Now you can see we have a blue and yellow same time. We have to same white and do the same step. Right, up, right prime, up, right prime, up prime 2 times, and right prime. Now you can see that there is a flush on all the sides. Step 4. Orientation of all corners. Next step is that we'll have to orient or place or position the corners in correct position. Orient or place means that we are not solving, but we are placing them in the correct position. Look at that. That's not on the correct position. Neither is that. This is in the correct position. So this is called the correct orientation. And now in this step we'll have to orient all the corners just like this. Orientation means based on the color. That's red, green, yellow, and the center is red, green, yellow. So for orienting all the corners, you'll have to do the algorithm just like me, or else you won't be able to orient it. This orientation is called placing the corners. So let's start the algorithm by U R U prime L U R prime U prime L prime. Now you can see that all the corners are oriented in the correct position. Now just do my steps, that is R prime D R D prime, R prime D R prime R D prime, again R prime D R D prime. Do this until the corner is solved. R prime D R D prime. Now the corner is solved. All you have to do is flip the turn the top layer one time and do the same thing again. R prime D R D prime, R prime D R D prime, R prime D R D prime, R prime D R D prime. Turn the cube one time, and then again R prime D R D prime, R prime D R D prime. Again turn the cube one time, the last time, R prime D R D prime, R prime D R D prime. So now you can see the cube is solved. The cube is solved, and in this situation there is 2 opposite corners solved and 2 opposite corners unsolved. So you may also get situation like this and more situations which I will be discussing. Do the same step, that is R prime D R D prime, R prime D R D prime, R prime D R D prime, R prime D R D prime. Now flip the cube 2 times, turn the cube 2 times and do the same. R prime D R D prime, R prime D R and D prime. And then you just turn the cube 2 times. That's it. Your cube is over. The next situation is where you will have 1 corner solved and 3 corners oriented. So just the same, pick 1 corner and R prime D R D prime, R prime D R D prime, R prime D R and D prime, R prime D R D prime. Turn the cube one time. R prime D R D prime, R prime D R D prime, R prime D R D prime, R prime D R D prime. Turn the cube one time. R prime D R D prime, R prime D R D prime, R prime D R D prime, R prime D R D prime. Now turn the cube 2 times and your cube is solved. Now the next situation is where you'll have 2 adjacent corners solved and 2 adjacent corners unsolved. So I'm going to teach you how to do this just the same. R prime D R D prime, R prime D R D prime. Turn the cube one time. R prime D R D prime. Again, R prime D R D prime, R prime D R D prime, R prime D R D prime, and turn the cube one time. Your cube is solved. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more cube tutorial videos and more funny videos.